Are you looking for a unique and fun holiday craft that's perfect for the whole family? In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn ordinary rocks into 3 kinds of painted rock snowmen. Let's make some holiday magic with just paint, rocks, and a little creativity. Today, we're tackling a super fun and easy project, making a snowman out of painted rocks. Actually, 3 snowmen. This craft is perfect for adding a personal touch to your holiday decor. You could use it outside, inside, even make them as gifts. Whether you want to use it as a centerpiece, a mantle decoration, or a gift, these DIY snowmen are sure to bring a smile to anyone's face. Plus, they're very budget friendly and use materials you probably already have at home. So let's get started with the supplies we'll need to make our painted snowmen. We're going to need 3 somewhat large rocks. I'll show you where these come in. That's for one of the snowmen. This large rock, this large rock looks like a potato, is for another one of the snowmen. And then for the third, I will stack these up on my hand. These 3 rocks right here. Small, medium, larger. So we're going to need 7 rocks if you want to make all 3. You'll also need a paintbrush, some white craft paint, and I have a little container here to put the paint in. Another item that might come in handy is a pencil to sketch the features onto the snowman. And then some kind of sealer, like Mod Podge or a spray acrylic. And finally, our last item is some kind of adhesive. And I'm going to use some shoe goo. This is to repair shoes, but it can also hold rocks together. We're going to glue 3 of our rocks to make a stacking snowman. So let's get started. We're also going to need some paints, like red for maybe rosy cheeks on the snowman, an orange carrot nose, maybe a little greenery for detail, we'll see. Black for the coal eyes and mouth and buttons down the front. And then some extra colors for scarves or any other kind of like a hat, any kind of detail like that you want to add. And I have these paint markers, which are great. You can get more detailed sometimes than with a paintbrush. So I would say use what you have on hand. And I like to practice a little bit with my markers and paint on a piece of paper to see if I have the right consistency. So just consider all that when you begin painting. The first thing we're going to do is make sure our rocks are clean. I had these out in the yard, sort of using them as landscaping, but I figured, I can find more. So I dunked them in a little bath of water, set them on this wire rack in the sun, and they dried, so they're good to go. Just make sure your rocks are free of dust and dirt. And I have this little wire, it's like a baking rack to cool cookies maybe, and I use it for rocks because then they're not sitting directly on, this. I have some of this shelf liner. I also have a towel down because I'm a little bit anal. I like to protect my work surface. So I'm going to pour this white paint into my little cup. And it's probably going to take all of it. I see a trip to the store for more white paint in my future, and that's okay. So the first thing to do And I'll just show you on one rock because they're basically, you know, it's a rock, it's a rock, it's a rock, they're all the rock. I'll show you how you just apply a liberal coat onto the rocks. And I'm going to get paint all over me, but it'll wash off. It's just craft acrylic paint, so I'm not terribly afraid of it. It'll be fine. So that is how you do it. And I'm going to put a liberal coat on, and it might be that one coat does it. But if I need more, I'll let you know. Yep, getting paint on me. Okay, on to the next part. But first I wanted to show you, I figured I'd have to touch up some of the rocks with some more white paint. So I just put the paintbrush and the little cup of paint in this plastic bag, closed up the end so the air wouldn't get to it and dry it out. So that's a quick little tip to use if you need to do a couple coats of something instead of cleaning your brush and, you know, all that stuff that isn't really the fun part. This makes it easy. So my paintbrush is still wet, my paint is still liquidy, and I'm going to go ahead and put some more coats of paint, probably just one more, on these rocks. And I decided to get a pair of these vinyl gloves. I have a whole box of them, and this will be a lot easier. I was able to wash my hands of the paint, but being able to just throw the gloves away will be easier. So there we go. So if you have some of these, I'd recommend using them because, like I said, you do have to paint the bottoms of some of these rocks, and you know, there's no way really to do it without getting some paint on you, which isn't the end of the world, but for cleanup, the gloves will make it much nicer. So there's one down. I'll go ahead and give all of these a quick little second coat, and then I'll be back. Look at that. All of the rocks have a second coat, and I'm going to let those dry. Then. Okay, so I wanted to show you, I sketched out a few images before I started painting, and I'm going to show you what I came up with. I've just started, and this is the potato rock, and he has a top hat, a body with 3 snowballs, and his black features, the eyes, the mouth, and the cold buttons are done. And I outlined him in black. And I used a black paint pen or marker. It's Uni Posca. And these are pretty handy. Then I took this one, gave him 3 black buttons, and on this one 2 black buttons, and he'll have a scarf and his face. Then this will be the stackable snowman. He has black eyes, black cold mouth, 2 little buttons here on his middle, and on his bottom another couple small buttons. And I'm going to wait until the black paint dries before I do any more. Now for some extra painting, I'm going to use a brush and some paints. Don't need the black, we've already done that with the marker. Do the carrot noses. So I'm going to use some, this is apricot, but it looks pretty orange to me. So I have a tiny little brush here. I don't know if you can see that. And I have a little bit of water, just this little container, and putting a little water on there because sometimes the paint's thick. And I'm just going to use the paint from the lid because I don't need very much at all. So I have this tiny little brush. I'm going to do this guy's nose. And it'll just take a couple little swipes. And I think that's good. So there's his nose. Now I'm going to give the potato rock snowman his nose. And I still got plenty of paint. And there he is. I'm not sure if you can see it. They're so little, but so cute. So here's this guy. And I'm going to grab a little bit more paint. Excuse me. And just do a couple swipes. And there's his nose. So the orange is finished. And I may need to go over it again, but I'll wait till it dries to give it a second coat. And I'm going to clean out my brush. And I can work on this scarf. I don't know if you can see the pencil marks. I sort of sketched a little scarf right here with the ends hanging down. So what I think I'm going to do is just make this all one color. And maybe I'll give him a green scarf. This is grass green. And again, I'm just going to work out of the lid. Get me a little bit of water on my paintbrush. So there it is. And I'm just going to paint. Sketching the details on the rocks with pencil really is kind of a good idea because it just gives you somewhere to go. So there's the little part that goes around his neck, and now I'm going to paint down. And again. And there's the scarf. So that one's done. I wonder if he should have a matching green hat. Why not? I'll just get a little bit more paint. And there's his hat. So this snowman is basically done. This one is one that kids can, you could give them all 3 rocks and say, how do you put the snowman together? Kind of like a little snowman puzzle. Very easy for them, but be fun for them to play with. So I don't think I'm going to use green again. So I'm going to clean my brush. And I think I'm going to give the potato snowman a red scarf, and then I'm going to add some stripes in. Maybe this antique gold, that might be pretty. We'll see. Okay, so I'm just going to use the paint right out of that lid. There's plenty. So I'm going to just paint some stripes. So there are some stripes, and I'm going to paint another color on the places that are white, and this will basically be done. And I think I will give the top of this snowman's hat red, and then a different color trim. So I'm going to grab a little bit more red and just paint this top part all the way around. Since this one's going to be stacked up and his whole front and back and sides of the rocks will be showing. I live in the Southwest desert and we don't have snow. And if we do have snow, it's for like 10 minutes. And it sticks and then it melts real quickly. So it's good to put a few snowmen out so that I can pretend it's winter. So there's his hat. And then the middle rock is going to have the scarf around it. So I'm going to do that red also. And again, you could do the paint pencil or markers. You could paint them like this. Whatever you want to do. Whatever's fun and easy for you, do that. So these 3 different snowmen painted on rocks are coming together really quickly. This is a good little project. The only thing is you do have to wait, especially when you paint the rocks white. You have to wait and let that dry and possibly do a second coat. But after that, the painting, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a part of it hanging down. I think that looks good. So you have to let the paint dry to continue in a few places. But otherwise it's a very quick craft, and you can do a little assembly line like I've done here, and we will come back to finish up. Here we go. I am going to finish the potato rock snowman's scarf. I'm just going to put some color right here in these little white places. I decided to use some blue. I think this is very pretty. Just gonna get a little bit on my paintbrush and barely touch it. A little bit goes a long way. So there it is. That's done. And I think I'll use the blue to trim his hat. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and I'll be back, and then we're going to glue together these 3 and make a little statue snowman. And now we're going to put together our 3-piece snowman. I'm just going to take some shoe goo. It's not glue, but it kind of acts like glue. So I'm going to put some on the bottom of this rock. It's going to go right there. This is the bottom snowball, this is the middle one, and then this is the head. So I'm just going to squeeze it out. and go around the edges of this rock, just like that. And I have to say, this is pretty stinky. And I'm going to press it down. Except I put it on backwards. So I'm going to press it down now because the front is here. And then the head's going to go right there. And I'm going to put some shoe goo right down here on the bottom. And I'm going to have to hold that in place because it's a somewhat precarious way I'm doing this. And there we go. I'm going to hold this, and our snowman of 3 rocks is finished. If you want to give it a nice coat of protection, apply an acrylic finish spray or a coat of Mod Podge. You can set these outside. I'm just going to show you on the potato rock. I keep calling it a potato rock. It's not really. It's a snowman now. So I'm just going to apply a coat, and it'll be all set to go out in the wild. You could hide rocks. That's a big thing that people do. They paint them and then they take them to a park or set them outside at the grocery store or just different places where people can find them. I think they're called kindness rocks, and I've found plenty of them, and it is always a treat to find one. So there's just a quick coat on that one. I'll give these little guys a quick coat while I'm talking. Here is the finished one that I glued together, and it's actually reversible. Look. So the mouth sort of disappeared when I glued the rock on here. So I went ahead and just painted another face on this side. And I included a stocking cap for the head. So I'm just going to give it a quick coat. And like I said, when I used the shoe goo, it was really stinky. So I don't think I had used it before because I don't remember it being so bad. So I must not have used it. If I use that again, or when I use it again, because when I buy something, I tend to use it because I have it. I hate to waste money. So I will do it outside in the future because it was very noxious to me, but I'm really sensitive to smells. And it says on the packaging to use in a well-ventilated area. And to me, that would be outside. So there is a quick coat on all of our painted rock snowmen. So what do you think? Are you going to make one or all of these rock painted snowmen? I hope you'll give at least one a try. They're really fun and easy, and I'm sure you can do a better job than I did. But I just enjoy it, so I go with it. And if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate that. I hope to see you again soon.